And here's another question. Hey, Steve, I recently sustained a concussion and a neck injury. I have concussion syndrome, but my neck seems to be the bigger issue. After your injury at SummerSlam, how did you cope with the physical pain, the limitations, and the depression? In parentheses, he says, doctors say that is standard with these type of injuries, close parentheses. I would love to know because even after a month with these issues, I am very discouraged. Does it get better? That's from a guy named Mark from somewhere in the world. Well, when I got dropped on my head, I bruised my spinal cord. And goddamn, that's called an axial load, A-X-I-A-L. It's not a whiplash. That's the number one cause for quadriplegia. And I was almost turned into a quadriplegic that night in 97, I guess, in Jersey. It hurt like a motherfucker because of my injury. My anterior delts were on fire for about 2 weeks, and finally that kind of turned into a dull itch and went away. I didn't really get into any depression. You know, when I first got dropped on my head, I was just flying all over the United States, talking to different doctors, trying to, find out what I needed to do. Back then they really they thought wrestling was a shoot. They thought I was going to be taking pile drivers every night, and they all recommended, hey man, you don't need to get back in the ring. Finally, went to one of the top researchers in the United States in Philadelphia, Dr. Joseph Torg. And he says to me, he goes, Steve, if you can kind of control the environment you're in, you can go back. I think you're okay now, which I was. I mean, my spinal cord was still bruised. I still had some neurological issues, but if I just avoided pile drivers and, some of the harder slams, I could get back in the ring, and which I did. Finally, in about 2000, that's when everything started wearing on me again. I had to have that neck fusion because I had some nerve problems in my hands, some atrophy in the muscle tissue there, and some other things. So I had to get the bone spurs were growing into my spinal cord, and I had spinal stenosis to begin with. So they went in there, drilled off those bone spurs, created some more space in that canal, Dr. Lloyd Youngblood, and then they fused me up with a bone out of my hip. And it probably wasn't until then when the depression set in, because you spend your whole life trying to build yourself up, and then you're limited with what you can do in a hard collar, and you just feel like I don't know, for me, being a physical competitive guy, you feel like a puss, and you just go into repair mode. And I think it's only natural because your livelihood and everything that you love to do has basically been taken away from you. You can't do fuck all. I couldn't train. I couldn't shoot a gun yet because of the impact on the kick. I started hunting towards the end, but I was just worried about the recoil of the gun back in. And if I shot something, my buddies would have to pick it up because I couldn't do a goddamn thing. Damn near choked to death on a couple of jalapeno burgers from Sonic. But, there's a depression that goes with it. Let me stop flapping my gums about your issues, but that's where I was. I mean, it'll hit you hard. But here's the thing. Hey, man, as you start getting stronger, you kind of start kicking out of it because you become more active. So anything you can do at the pace that you need to do, or the pace that your doctor tells you to do, you will start to kick out of that depression as you become more active and start doing the things that you're used to doing without those restrictions. And that's the way it happened for me. And at the end of the day, it's, again, one of those things where you look at yourself in the mirror and just say, hey, dude, you ain't got time to feel sorry for your ass. You got to get your ass back on a horse and get back down the road and take care of business, take care of all the stuff that you've got to do. So that's what I did. But you'll be all right. The pain never was really part of my neck. It was just the impact and the trauma that occurred. A lot of people said, hey man, the worst part about that fusion surgery is your hip will hurt because of where they take it off of your side there, off your iliac crest. Shit, that didn't bother me at all. It was just not being able to do what I love to do. And that was being in a 20 by 20 squared circle, working with another man, trying to put people in the seats at a wrestling arena. So good luck with your neck. Take your time, and then you'll be good.